Hi, I wanted to talk to you today about being a Siren Mom if you have kids. All of this is covered in the Siren Mom program about how to create romance in your family. So you bring a man into the romance of your family rather than trying to go outside your family to create romance. It's an amazing concept. But the big question that I get from all single moms is, how do I prepare my kids for my dating? How do I deal with the kids and the man and all of that, the logistics of it? Well, let's just skip the logistics of it right now, except to call the logistics the actual emotional content here. In other words, let's say that I have two kids of any age. I am not necessarily going to bring any man that I just barely know into my house and into my kids' life. Most of the women I talk to find that a very uncomfortable idea. And then getting a man all involved in the family and then all of a sudden he goes away or it doesn't work out, that's very hurtful to any of the kids who become bonded to him, right? So here is the way I feel is the way to work this out with yourself, coming from an organic, modern siren place, which is that you and your family are a wonderful, cohesive, romantic unit, and that a man really needs to earn his place in that unit. And by feeling that he's earning his place in that unit and he's wanting to be a part of this great family experience and this romance that you've created, is what draws him to you continually. In other words, the concept that a man's going to be put off by kids or by the day-to-day of the kids is just kind of not true. If you create a romantic fantasy for him of your life, which it is in real life because kids are amazing, and yeah, the day-to-day kind of gets in the way. But what you want to do is fall in love with that day-to-day in a way that makes this whole experience basically the family romance. Then every man's going to want in. He's going to want in. A man who would be an addition and an enhancement to your family would want in. He would want what you got. He would want to be a part of that relationship, that dynamic, that place where everybody can be themselves, everybody feels acknowledged, everybody feels heard, everybody feels adored, everybody feels respected, everybody feels cherished, everybody feels that they can be their best selves in that circumstance, in that family, with no judgment at all. So how do you do it? Basically, you meet men outside of the family, where you are going when you can to lunch, during your work day, after work, where you can go out with friends, out at meetups, wherever you can go when you don't have responsibility for your kids. And you meet men. Online dating is superb for this because it takes all the work out of going places hoping to meet men, and instead you're actually going places where you know you're actually going to meet men that you've already spoken to on the phone. You can find any way that you can to find that time to be with these men. And then, over time, after knowing them, you gradually bring them into the family as friends. You would bring your kids somewhere to meet them, somewhere in general, a game, and he gets involved, he shows up. They get to meet him in a situation where he is merely some outsider, some friend, somebody casual, and then it's just very natural to start to see more of him. It's very natural. If your kids are older and teenagers, they may be all kinds of different ways with you. They may be jealous of the time. They may not want anyone to replace their father. They may not enjoy the men that you choose. Or they may be pushing you out the door and saying, "Mom, date, mom, date, mom, date." Either way, you are the person in charge. You are the person who creates your life. You're the person who decides who gets to be in your life. And all of that helps your romantic issues with a man. In other words, the more you are high degree of difficulty because your family comes first, the more a man is going to see you that way. So it's like Family is built in modern Sirenville. It's built in for you. So when you prepare the kids for a date, you don't even really need to do that. You are going out, you are meeting a guy, you are deciding whether or not to have him casually meet your children, and then it develops. If they should see you holding hands with somebody at a party, at a game, somewhere like that, and they ask you a question, you simply say, yeah, Mom, met this friend, his name is Robert, do you want to know about him? And let them ask questions. On the other situation is men that you meet when you are with your children. In other words, you meet a man at the market, you meet a man at the soccer game. This happens all the time. You meet a man at the parent meeting. You meet a man at the PTA. You meet the man with your children out and about somewhere. He could be a single dad with his own kids. He could be a man who is not a father, but is in the market. And the kids then are part of the conversation with a stranger. They become part of the flirtation. They become part of the conversation. What you need to watch for is yourself stiffening up and getting nervous or concerned about how this is. This man is a person. You don't have to feel upset about showing your own excitement if he's an attractive man, or your own thoughts, and you don't need to shut your kids out of the process. They're with you when you are encountering a stranger. And if you have a conversation, they learn how to have a conversation by watching you. There is nothing not good about that. So that is the beginnings of what you might call a strategy, but it's really just all from your heart. It is living your life, finding yourself in places where you will meet men, and encountering men, talking with men, and including your kids in the process in a way that feels comfortable to you. The things you don't want to do are sit them down and say, Mommy is going to start dating now and find another man. You don't need to have any of that unless they ask. You are living your life. You have a social life. You are social as you can be. You're social with them. If you can start to imagine this romance that will include a man, beginning with the romance that is in your family, where you create this dynamic where everybody feels heard and loved, and that they can be themselves and be authentic, and the speaking is truthful and honest and genuine and authentic, that is going to bubble over into your life with men and draw them in. To get more relationship advice, check out this video next.